Hey, what's going on there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Lake here representing Team JVS. I'm back again for another review. This is the season finale review for season 10 of The Walking Dead. Season 11 will be its finale. I did get to watch this on AMC Plus. If you don't know what AMC Plus is, it is a slew of different other streaming connections. Is Sundance, is also Shudder. I'm not Shudder. It's kind of like slasher stuff. And they have the early episodes to The Walking Dead. I may check out the new Walking Dead series tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do a reaction to it, but I did do a reaction to The Walking Dead finale episode 16, A Certain Doom. But what did I think about it? So the problem is, it's been a long time. It's been since April, right? When that came out. And literally the world has turned upside down. And consequently, like, I've kind of fell out of the emotional turmoil of this show. I've like literally played games that have put me in more emotional turmoils, like The Last of Us 2, for better or for worse, different people's perspective. This episode was pretty good though, because I really didn't know how this was gonna actually end. Now I do think that my biggest critique with this episode is that it ended all this so quickly. It was literally one episode, like everything concluded everything. Now it was all foretold, like it was a lot of different, imagery that showed that this was gonna be it. But I didn't think they would close it like that, to be fair. It was good to see the crew doing what they do best. I think that the highlights of this episode was definitely a Lydia and a Negan situation, which they were the ones that I was kind of like, dang, y'all really about to do this? And they actually were the clutches of this entire episode. Matter of fact, they actually had some good scene stealer moments, specifically in the third act with Lydia and Carol, and then with Negan with Lydia, and then Negan again later on. Now, to be fair, the actor that plays the role of Beta, I think he owned this scene as well, like that specific scene, as well as throughout this episode. I think he just commanded everything. Like, I never felt like he was a redeemable character to begin with. But the biggest thing about him is I was like, this man is insane. He believes fully what he's doing is the right path, regardless of what that means, regardless of who he tramples or kills or maims. Like, he is dangerous and insane. Like, that is him to a core. And I think that actor identifies and plays that role to a T. Now, as far as the episode and everything that was kind of constructive through it, there were some deaths. Not as many as I thought. There was a lot of close calls. Like, there was one moment with one character, I think in the second act. It's kind of like an OG character. I was like, dang, this how you about to go down with a shotgun in his hand? That's how you about to go? I was kind of like, and then they surprised me with somebody coming up. Now, I think that the last episode they did show that Maggie did show back up, and I think that the way that they used her character is pretty interesting in this episode. I think the biggest critique that I can have about this is that I don't know where there's a threat anymore. Like, everything that happens from this point, like, can be associated to somewhere else. Like, in all seriousness, like, there is not any more threat. Anything added at this point, it's gonna feel like an expansion. It's gonna feel like a DLC, like an added threat, just because, like, I feel like everybody's character rounded out. Because the biggest thing about season 10 as a whole, this is the same exact season, if I'm not mistaken. It started in October 2019. This ending in 2020, a whole year. This whole year, bro, because the thing is, like, this is the same exact season that Rick Grimes left. The same exact season that Michonne left. And, like, it was a lot that happened. And I felt like, I'm glad that, season 11 is it. Because there doesn't feel like this need to continue with these same exact characters. Like, it feels like either these characters aren't going to make it, or this needs to kind of, like, wrap up in the best way possible. I honestly feel like the way that this ended, that is obscure and open-ended and you can think about whatever you want to, like they could have just stopped at the end of this last episode. I feel like this episode, aside from the very last single moment, which I felt like was kind of the tag on, was really out there, Stormtrooper style, that's all I'm gonna say. I felt like that was just a tag on. And then the thing with Eugene, like Eugene, his arc in this episode, as well as the last few, I felt like this is them painting another storyline that I guess is gonna fuse with a different show, I'm assuming, because it just doesn't add up. Like like I don't know if I have the energy to wait to see how this goes back in connection with the same exact crew, just based on how far out Eugene and them have gone. So I don't know if the season 11 is associated to Eugene's arc. I don't necessarily want to see this blend in with the rest of the crew, because it just, I don't know. I hate when shows go far distance going one way and then like you round up something else. So the deaths in this they weren't as big as I thought they were going to be. I do think the action was pretty good, and I think it was very intense most of the episode. Daryl, of course, he's the GOAT. Ooh, there was one moment with Daryl and Carol, I was kind of like, yo, no, Daryl, he's taken, leave it alone. And like, there was something that happened that I was kind of like, oh, yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know who I'm talking about if you've seen the episode. I'm just glad that that character is still alive. That's all I'm going to really kind of say. That was a nice little touch. And then the person that's traveling around with Maggie, I was kind of like, yo, who is this dude with the blades? He's clutch with, like, who is he? It's just strange, to be quite honest with you, because of how they're maneuvering around. I was kind of like, this is going to be it. But then I heard about the season 11 getting renewed, and it's going to be the final season, so I just don't know where things are going to go from this point. But as far as episode, I think this is a good closure episode to me personally. It wasn't as intense as I was hoping, and it didn't have that big, gut punch, but I never felt that that was going to be the case. I felt like, if anything in this episode, some major OG characters could die. I felt like this was going to be the end of an era. I felt like, there was no stopping this. But some kind of way they did, and that was my biggest critique. That it just kind of like they found a way. So anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm not gonna give a score number for this episode. I wasn't underwhelmed, but I also felt like this wasn't the best episode. But I felt like it also did close the gap, and I think that as the season 10 as a whole, like it felt like 3 seasons in one. Like, and it might have been from the amount of time that I've spent watching this. But it was just a lot, man. It was a lot thrown at me, and we'll see. I'm going to be back. Hope you guys do check out our reaction, and go to our Patreon if you want to check out the full. And I'll leave all that in the description bar below. I'll talk to you guys later on. Keep it locked. JBS, we ain't gonna stop. Have a blessing, guys. Peace.